Hey guys, it is Heather at Homeschool Culture, and I have got a book haul for you today. I just got this in yesterday from Book Outlet. I'm very excited. Whenever, maybe y'all don't do this, but sometimes I'll order things and I'm like, I forgot I ordered that. And so I was going through it last night and I was excited to see. And then there was one thing that I really wasn't sure what it was going to end up being like, and I was very happy to get it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. We have I'm pretty sure we have mostly nonfiction things in here, and pretty much, yeah, all nonfiction and a few like nature study, science type stuff, things like that. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you is the DK Reads, which I don't think I've ever seen these before. Have you ever seen this? Let me know if you have. And if you have seen them, which ones do y'all have and do y'all like them? So it says down here that it says choose the level that suits your ability. Beginning to read, starting to read alone, and reading alone, and that is what this is considered. And this one is specific to twisters, which my son is fascinated with, and I could see him maybe being a storm chaser one day. I could definitely see him doing maybe a storm chaser as a hobby or something. So I went ahead and picked this up, not knowing exactly what to expect. It is considered a chapter book, and what's cool about this one is I like it because even though it's a chapter book, the words are a little bit larger. There's not a ton of words per page. And my goal, there's also spreads like this, which he enjoys. He likes to look at and read all of those. Like here's one on some storm chasers. My goal is to read this with him, and how I think I'm going to do it is things like he would read this page because it's shorter, and I would read this one because it's a little bit longer. But I will say this, he is starting to get to the point where even if I say that, he will go on to the next page. So just keep it up, mamas. Keep up reading with them, and I promise, even with your struggling readers like I have, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We are seeing tons of progress, which I'm so thankful for. Just, get them into reading things that they're interested in, and that helps out a lot. And I also think another benefit, and this isn't meant to be this topic, but I'm gonna say it anyways, don't put them in books that are above their level too quick, because I think that sometimes is what hinders them. Okay, so on that note, you know that if you've been here, I love these young readers, okay? And again, I feel like some parents are like, well, that's for little kids. Y'all, this is meant for, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade levels. If you look at the back, it talks about like this is a level 4, and it is like on the scale, it's a Q. So don't think just because they look like this that they're not necessarily a chapter book that they're not ready for it. There's something, especially for a struggling reader, that reads something like this that is a higher level potentially, but even though it's smaller or not as much to complete the book, but that completion of a book, that satisfaction for them is needed. They need that. They need to know that they can go and read a book, instead of feeling like they aren't reading. These are books that we use during the day in homeschool, and they're also books like the ones in the 2s, he'll take back, sometimes the 3s and the 4s, he'll take back and he reads them at night while he's getting ready for bed. Okay, so sharks, I'm thinking we're gonna do a shark unit, and of course I got a couple of them, so I will probably if we start out the year maybe in it with a 3, even though he's kind of on the 4, but again, I don't mind that he's reading the 3 because he's reading. It helps with fluency, and again, it just gives him that motivation. Sharks, again, level 4. Tiny Terrors, the world's scariest smallest creatures. He loves stuff like this. And we're going over, since we're doing South America this year, we're going to probably go over like rainforest and jungle and all that. And I'm assuming they'll have some of that stuff in here. Are sea monsters real? So this year we are going over ancient times. And so I'm going to assume at some point this will come up. So I will pull this out. And then here comes the rain, and here comes the rain. I thought maybe this had to do more with rainforest stuff, but can animals predict weather? So I will maybe try to pull in a mini unit or something that will go with this. And again, I always try to incorporate, instead of doing like nonfictions of these, which they do have, he tends to like instead of doing fiction style of these easy readers, we do nonfiction because he tends to prefer nonfiction anyways. And I always try to tie it into whatever history we're doing or whatever science, geography, things like that. Okay, next. And again, this is Into the Rainforest. So I figured this is something that he could do. And he likes things like this, so I might read these bigger chunks as we're reading it, and he'll read these little chunks. He likes books like this, and so when I see them, those are the ones. Oh, and just so you know, this is something I do, and you might already do this, but when I go to Book Outlet, I will go and see if I can find it at either the library, if it's something that I'm not sure of, so I can at least get it at the library and check it out, or I'll go to Amazon, and usually Amazon has really good look-throughs where you can look through it, and so I will go to Amazon so I can look through it and see if it's something I want to purchase. I just happened to see this. It's Division Pull the Tabs, and so I figured we'll be getting into that this next year, I think. And the way it is that you write all your answers and then you pull down and it gives you the correct answer, and it's obviously dry erase. So I thought that was good. Okay, this next one is the Nature Adventure book. I was not sure about this, and I can't remember what it was priced at. I want to say it was maybe $7 or $8, which normally I'm funny about how much money I spend on certain books, but it's a DK book, and it is actually really cool. And so there are just so much that he can do that he just hasn't thought of. And I'll be honest, I just don't know. I don't ever think to do these things, but he likes doing stuff like this. And so I bought this book. So like right here, Terrific Twig Raft. So we have tons of woods here and ponds and play stuff for him to run around and do things. And so he can go find these twigs, make this little raft, put it in one of our ponds, and see if it floats. Or things like this, in the wintertime when all of those dead trees, he can go around and get the logs, which is cleaning up the land, and he can make a cool looking teepee. I mean, there's just tons and tons of things that I think he is going to love doing. And I honestly think his 14-year-old sister's gonna love it too. And so I purchased that. I'm very, very excited about that one. Okay, the next one is Outdoor Science Lab. He loves science labs. He wants to do them all the time. These are 52 family-friendly experiments for the yard, garden, playground, and park. And so, because he loves it, even though I'm not necessarily a fan of science projects, I'm going to be honest, but he does. So I'm going to make it a point to put it on our enrichment section of our schedule. And once a week, we are going to do at least one science experiment. I think I will probably just go in order. And I want to say I have another science experiment book came in, maybe. I can't remember. Maybe I saved it at the library. But what we'll probably do is like this right here, Water Bear Hunt. And it's where you're looking things under a microscope. Like stuff like that actually is fun and fascinating. It's the stuff that when you have to build a bunch of stuff. A butterfly garden, which we can kind of actually do because we already have butterfly weed in our garden. So we could do that soon and kind of talk about it and see, pay attention and see if we see any. There's just all types of stuff in here. These two right here are definitely both ones, really all of them, but these are definitely ones that I will let you know maybe mid-year on how they're doing and if they're worth getting. They might again be at your libraries and you can check them out as well. I am late on getting this. I have never gotten Bedtime Math, and I happened to see it on again at Book Outlet, and so I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and grab it. The reason why I have never, I don't know why I've never done it, to be honest. So I'm thinking this is something that I can put in our morning basket. I'll have to go through it and see, because my daughter is in Algebra 1, but I'll have to go through and see see if it's appropriate for both of them to do together, or if maybe him and I will just do it kind of like, again, once a week, just go through and do one or something like that. So yeah, I am excited about getting it, and I'm not sure what took me so long. Let me know, do you have this one, and do y'all enjoy it? Let me know that down below. Okay, this next one is one of my favorite authors. Again, if you've seen any of my stuff, mostly maybe my older stuff, Gail Gibbons is absolutely my favorite nonfiction author. I feel like she has pretty much a book for everything. So this is Caves and Caverns. We were going to take a trip in Arkansas to go to one of the caverns up there. And because of rain and stuff, we ended up going to Arkansas, but somewhere else. And so I still want to get up there. Hopefully, if we don't get up there this summer, maybe we'll get up there this fall. And so I always like to, whenever I'm doing, I don't know if it's just natural, like a natural thing, but it seems like anytime I go on vacation, somewhere I try to incorporate, you know, learning in there somehow. So we might not do like a whole unit or anything, but we will definitely maybe read about this before we go. And then I feel like it just helps the experience a little bit more once they're there. I do it two ways. I've done it that way where I read it before I go. And then I've also done it where we go over stuff after. And it's kind of fun because they've already seen it live. And then it kind of brings the learning experience, you know, to another level that way. So you can kind of do it both ways. I don't know what I thought this was. I kind of thought it was something else. Ancient World Magnified. I think he will like looking at it. He's not a really big fan of like Where's Waldo, but there's a castle one that is not necessarily this, but I can't remember what it's called, Inside the Castle or something like that. It's a paperback, and he liked that one where we went and we found like the different stuff and we kind of read through things. So I'm hoping that if we do this together and then we kind of talk about it, like this talks about toothpaste, tiny pieces of grit and sand and Egyptian bread cause lots of dental problems. So Egyptians invented the first toothpaste. I didn't know that. So it gives tidbits of information, and then you go and you look for it on the page, etc. So I think since we are doing ancient times, I went ahead and picked that up, and I think so it'll just be something fun to do, you know, kind of towards the end of the day or after lunch, that type of thing. And that's another thing, like him and I are usually done by lunch for the most part, and then we have that big chunk of afternoon. And so sometimes I'm having to help my daughter, or, you know, I'm getting things done around the homestead or whatever, which is why, you know, these two books to me, I really wanted, especially like this Outside Nature one, because I wanted him to be able to go and do these fun activities and stuff on his own, and then not be too difficult. And it doesn't seem like they are. Okay, my last book. The only thing about this one, I've never purchased a book that was like really messed up. This one has just a tad bit. Do y'all see that? And I've never actually purchased one from here. So I don't know if that happened in shipping or if they just kind of came that way. Still, it's a good deal. This is called Amazing Earth Decay, the most incredible places around the world. So the reason why I got it was, again, I thought with South America, they would have some things in here. And I'm going to do a video on how I do geography, but they didn't have as much stuff in South America as I wanted. So I'm going to definitely have to have some other books to help. But it did have some. And again, it's just gorgeous. I mean, and I love, again, when spreads are in matte finish instead of gloss. But it has really cool information. And so and it does tell you, like at the top, the only downside to this book that I've noticed so far, so like up here is Asia, is it would be nice if everything was like, here's Asia, here's Europe, here's North America, South America, Africa, you know, Australia, etc. There's even, I think, 2 from Antarctica. I would prefer it to be separated like that. Instead, I have to kind of go through and figure out where something from South America is. And it's like the index doesn't show it, and necessarily the table of contents isn't user-friendly when it comes to like knowing what area of the world it's in. So that would be my only downside to this, even though it isn't necessarily a look through. It is a beautiful book though, and he will like here's the blue hole in Belize. He will love just learning about all this stuff because that is right up his alley. Okay, that is it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. I do have a link for Book Outlet, so if you are completely new to Book Outlet, you can sign up under me, and then I just get a little bit back from them, which just helps support my channel, and so I would truly appreciate it. And there is something like if you spend $35, then you don't pay for shipping and things like that. So, all right, that is it. I hope you have a super blessed day and a blessed week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.